name is Vincent Chee. I'm the director of Banhong Engineering and Construction. My office was founded in 1976, so up to date we have 32 years of experience. Right. As the company name suggests itself, Banhong Engineering and Construction is in the line of civil and structural construction, coupled with a little bit of engineering services. In short, our nature of business is building contracting. Now, in the layman's term, that would be what is commonly known as construction. Okay, so a lot of people do not exactly know the meaning of construction. Sometimes people may ask, oh, so you're in the line of construction. You design the houses, or you determine how wide or what shape or what sizes the houses are, or some even may ask, how much are you selling the houses for? So that is a general misconception. Well, an analogy I'd like to use is our human body. Compare the construction industry as a human body. See, we have our face, our skin, our nose, our eyes, our mouth. That is the outer appearance of a human body, right? So that is the job scope of an architect. They decide how a building should look like, just as our facial, our feature is. So when we compare to our human body, we need a support system, right? We need our bone structure, otherwise we will be paralyzed. So bone structure, in essence, is the job of an engineer. They decide how far a beam should be spaced at, what column size it should be, how the roof structure should be. So that is the job scope of an engineer. So what's left with the human body? It's the organs and the muscles. So that is what us as building contractors do. Based on the architecture and engineering drawings, we build the houses. That means we acquire all the building materials, we get all the labors in, and then we build the houses in accordance to the engineers and the architect's drawing. So now that we are a little bit clearer on the job scope of a contractor, I'd like to share with you a little more on the construction industry, just sort of bird's eye view. First of all, people always query, how do people like us get jobs? You know, how do contractors like you get jobs? Normally, I would say 80 to 90% of our job comes from developers. Developers are people like J. Muda, Teo Brothers, these are the local ones, or the more well-known ones are IOI, SV Setia, road builders, Sunway Group. These are the people, these are the developers that would potentially give jobs to us. So, usually, contracts are awarded based on a tendering process. We tender and then we try to get the jobs from the developers. What the developers will do is that they will try to engage architects to plan on what they decide on building on a piece of land. Say, they may decide to have double-story terrace houses, semi-Ds, bungalows, or sometimes they may even include shop houses within that piece of land. So, once they have decided on what they plan on doing, they will ask the architect to design the outlook of the buildings. Say whether you have a very posh semi-D or bungalows or things like that. So once the architecture drawing has been confirmed by the developer, they will pass the drawing to the engineer. So that based on the architecture drawing, the engineer will design the engineering drawing. So once these two drawings are ready, the developer will then instruct the architect to call for tender. That is where building contractors come in, when we get the architecture and engineering drawings. I have an example of engineering and architecture drawings that we could pass around, and the contract documents. So, usually developers will call up to 3 to 5 main contractors to tender for a project. Some kiasu developers will ask for more than 10 contractors. You know, usually for these type of kiasu developers, we give them 2 words. Stuff you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You usually decline in a very gentle way, because when the competition gets too stiff, right, then there really isn't much point in doing a project, because if you don't earn, then what's the point of tendering? So once we get the tender, what we do is that we will ask our quantity surveyor, that is QS in short, to calculate the quantities of the project. Quantities of the project meaning the total number of bricks used, the total tonnage of reinforcement bar used, roof tiles, tiling, so on and so forth. once we have all these quantities, we will ask two types of people for quotation. One is suppliers. A very good example would be Chee, who provides the precast concrete. Say for example, in a housing project, we have use of a perimeter drain, right? So once our QS work out the quantities, we will ask Chee, so I have so and so number of drains, how much are you quoting the price at? So they will quote the price and then we incorporate that into our tender. The second type of people is subcontractors. Sometimes people may confuse themselves between subcontractors and main contractors. Actually, subcontractors are people who are very specific in their jobs. They provide the labor. Say, to use back on the previous example, if say Chee has a truckload of precast drains delivered to my site, I'm not going to ask his driver, hey you, what ini longkang or make this drain. His lorry driver is probably going to say, siao you, because that is not the job scope of a supplier. That's the job scope of a subcontractor. Subcontractors are very specific in their job. For example, electrical subcontractors, they deal solely with electrical works. And then tiling subcontractors will deal specifically on tiling. So these subcontractors are very specific in their job. We would also, based on the drawings, ask them to quote the prices for it. So once we get the quotation from suppliers and subcontractors, we will consolidate it into a tender document and submit it to the developers. So when the developers get the different tender documents from different main contractors, they would compare prices between the tenderers. Normally, developers will award projects to the tenderer with the lowest bid. That means the cheapest. I think that is similar for a lot of other jobs. They will probably give the tender to the lowest bidder. However, certain developers are very particular on the quality and the on-time delivery of the project. In instances like this, they may opt for a higher bidder instead over those cheapskate contractors who is very low prices. So quality contractors are people like us. Well, it's true, right? Otherwise we wouldn't have. Did you know that Ashley Setia is the #1 developer in Malaysia? They has been since 2005, 2006, 2007, and they are hoping to get it this year as well. I'm proud to say that we have gotten their Quality Excellence Awards in 2005, and we have gotten that's the bronze medal, and we've got the Silver Quality Excellence Awards in 2007. So I do not know if you guys have heard of the quality requirements in Ashley Setia. You know how they judge whether your tilings are good or not? They take a coin, they roll it on the floor. If it happens that the coin falls out, that means it is not straight enough. Your tiling is not flat enough. They will ask you to remove everything and do everything again. That's the standard of quality that they are looking for. So yeah, quality. Okay. So there is actually a lot more to know about the construction industry, but what I'm trying to do today here is to let you know the pre-construction stage, so that if you do happen to meet developers or potential referral for me, normally what the things that they will say is tendering award all these kind of terminologies. So I feel it is important that you get to know the pre-construction stage, so that you will not be dumbfounded when engineers or architects speak about things like this. So on my next session, I don't know when that will be, I will talk to you more in details about the actual construction procedures and projects. So yeah, I guess that will be all for me today. So any questions? What is this? That is actually the engineering drawings. So if you see, these are all the main details. The structure of the yeah, that is from the engineer. Based on these drawings, we will calculate how many number of rebars to be used, the quantity of the reinforced concrete that we need.
Perhaps you can shed a little bit of light as to what kind of referrals that you want.
The referrals that I want, probably developers like we are really tendering for SP Setia, and we would like a lot of large-scale projects. Developers with large-scale projects, like more than 100 units of houses. Because when it is only like 10 to 20 houses, right, sometimes the cost of it does not equate to the assets within. I think it's really